So, coming up on my Jewellery Maker show on the 27th of February, I've got these lovely little gemstone donut beads, and I've used the Coiling Gizmo and sterling silver wire that Jewellery Maker gave me to create sort of wire wraps. And I'm just showing different designs for inspiration, but you can wrap them how you want them. But they're absolutely beautiful little pieces, and they come together as a set. So you'll find those on the show. I've got the Coiling Gizmo tool, of course, which I absolutely love. I think any wire worker really likes this tool because it's not just for making jump rings. You can make so many different things, and you've got this range of different handles for different scales of coils. There are also wonderful bundles of silver plated and brass wire, coloured wires, all different gauges from 1 mil down to 0.4. And I'm just going to show you on the thinner wires what I would do when you purchase these thinner ones. Create this sort of holder around it. So I've got sticky, it's actually electrical tape, but you can use any tape you want. Stick it around, fold it onto itself, but leaving a little bit of stickiness at the edge. And then put that around to hold it, and then just stick that down. So you're holding that coil in place, because when you're using the Coiling Gizmo and you're pulling the wire out from that spool, you'll find it can get incredibly tangled. So that's just a little tip. Keep it nice and together like that. So the other thing I'm going to be demoing is these Pom Pom beads. I absolutely love making Pom Pom beads, and they're so simple. You could get your grandchildren or your kids to make them with you. And I'll be showing you how to make that. And then, of course, you can make this sort of design with it, link them up together, put them on, whatever, rings and earrings and whatever. So that's really done by creating the coils, stretching out the coils. This is 0.8 of a millimeter, 20 gauge wire. I'm just curling the end of that coil and then spiraling it so that it's sort of in a circle. And then I use the rest of the sort of curly whirly wire to go round and around, just like you're wrapping a ball of string, so that it forms this sort of curly whirly ball. So that will be the center of the ball, because that's sort of quite firm wire. And of course, the amount of wire you use, so the size of the coil will determine the size of the pom-pom. And then you can use the thinner gauged wire. So this is 0.4 coil that I've stretched out. And then if you push that into that curly whirly sort of outside surface, it will hook itself into it, and then just keep turning and turning so it's covering the overall surface. And obviously you want to push the very end into the center so there's nothing sticking out or any spiky ends or anything like that. And then roll it around in your hands. So it's a bit like making meatballs. You sort of roll them around, make them rounder and mold them to shape them. And you can use 3 coils for this. So I usually use one of 0.8 for the center, and then I put 2 of the thinner gauged wires. And by adding different colors, starting with a sort of darkest color and then adding lighter colors on top, you achieve a sort of depth of tone to the piece you're making. You get this sort of depth. But of course, it's completely up to you. You've just got to experiment and find your own way with this. But they're such fun to make, and you can make them any size you want. And then, of course, you can turn them into jewelry pieces by threading them onto memory wire for bracelets, for putting them onto stems for earrings and dangly earrings, linking them together as chains. And also here I'm going to show you, you can also add a bit of sparkle in them. So use another fine wire, 0.4 again, 26 gauge, and just sew in, you know, little crystal beads or little silver beads or little gold beads. And that also adds another little bit of definition and another little bit of sparkle. It's just another extra. And then to use them, you just sort of twist a wire. It can be 0.8 again or 1 mil. Just curl it a couple of times so it won't push through and go through. And then do the same on the other side, unless you want a head pin on one side and a link on the other. But I've put 2 links now. So I've got link on one side and link on the other. Make sure they're both going on the same plane in the same direction. And then you can hang them off a chain. I've just got a choker wire here ready. And you could always add a little tassel or a bead, anything you want from the end, just to finish that off. And these very, very simple designs really create quite statement-like pieces, very original as well. But from the kits we get these gorgeous black and white agate beads. So for the Jewellery Maker show, I'm actually going to show you how I've created these pieces, because you'll get a kit with this wire and the semi-precious beads. And I'm going to show you how to rosary link and also use the gizmo to create these sort of coiled earrings. And this is another design which I love making, these chain link pieces. That's using a hammer, and you can create really stunning pieces like that. So many things you can do with this kit. The other kit is similar, except you've got different gemstone beads. So again, Amazonite, you've got all sorts in that kit. You've got amethyst, but I'm going to show you in this one this little daisy flower linking system. It's a sort of flower connector, but also I will show you how you can link the chain, this rosary linking system. So that's done by creating a wrapped loop, and then you make that link with the round nose pliers, change hands, wrap that end wire just under the loop that you have created, and keep that nice and neat. And once you've wrapped it a couple of times, cut off any excess. And you really want to make sure there's no spiky end, so squish it all down, make it nice and neat around that sort of stem. So there's your first loop. Then you push your bead right up to that loop, and then you're going to make another link on the other side. So make a gap. So I've bent it, leaving a tiny little gap because you want to have another wrap just by that bead so that it's similar to the opposite side. Then bring the wire around to form that loop. Now I've left quite a lot of wire because I'm going to show you how you can also wire wrap the bead. So before you wrap it, you push the end of the wire into the first loop of your previous bead, hold it just by the crossover of the wire, and then just wrap it around to create the identical wrap. Now you can stop there, cut the wire off, and it's linked, you know, one is linked into the other. So that's the rosary linking. But you could also do this, is push the wire to the opposite side and wrap it around the base of the other wrap loop. And that just adds a bit more silver to your piece, or gold, whatever wire you're using or working with. And you've got this extra little detail that sort of adds a nice little feature to your chain linking system. So I'm going to be showing that, and I'm also going to be showing you how to create these flower connectors. I'm going to use some gold wire now so you can see this a bit more clearly. So these are very simple to make. You want to leave about a good inch, sort of 2.5 centimeters. Make a loop, and that mustn't be rounded. You can see how it's shaped. So these are the petals. Then go in the opposite direction, make the second petal, and every time the wire must cross over the center. There's the third petal, and the fourth, and then again fifth. You could stop here with 5 petals, but if you have room, make just one more. I've got room, so I'm just going to do that. So again, I'm crossing over the center every time. Then cut it off the spool, leaving a nice long stem. So you've got the short stem and the long stem. Now you want to take the short stem at the back, and you want to grip the end and bind the center of the flower. So that holds everything in place. It secures the center so that it can't misshape. And once you've done that, you can squish that down. It'll look a bit of a mess at this stage because you still need to adjust the petals. But don't worry about that yet, because you can do that right at the end. So the main thing is just to get the middle of the flower to be a bit more flattened. So once you've done that, then you've got the longer stem, which we're going to spiral to make the center of the flower. So go to the very end of that projecting wire and make a tiny little sort of hook, squish that hook together, and with your chain nose pliers or your flat nose pliers, just grip that hook and keep curling the wire around itself to create a nice tight flat spiral, and keep going until it comes right into the center to create the center of the little flower connector. And that's it. So what I tend to do is hammer the very rounded ends, only the rounded ends of the petals. And that means they're lovely and strong and work hardened, because they're going to be used to link things together. So these flower connectors, I've just got a coil here of jump rings. I'm going to cut through. The coil again was made on my Coiling Gizmo. Open up the coil sideways, the little link sideways, and as you can see, these flower connectors can be connected from any of the petals, and so you can make flower necklaces. You can just do so many things with this style of or this little embellishment, this little unit. So you can see how they link together very easily. You could put beads in between, which I have done for the project on Jewellery Maker TV. So that's all you have to do with that one. And they take a bit of practice, but they make lovely feature pieces. And not only do you have, you can make them in any gauged wire, you could create them in coloured wires and sort of make daisy chains and linking systems without any beads at all. So that's one of my kits on the 27th of February Jewellery Maker show. So do watch, that will be in the midday hour. And the show will really be very much based on the wire gizmo tool as well. But if you're interested in starting up with wire work, oh, and I mustn't forget also showing you the Coiling Gizmo can create jump rings. So if you're into chain mail making, you've got the Mobius flower. You could make a fantastic chain out of lots of jump rings. There's just so much you can do with this amazing tool. So it's so simple, but it's such fun. So there'll be lots of Coiling Gizmo inspiration. So do please join me on the 27th on Jewellery Maker TV. Thank you for watching.